Hello students, let's start with a new chapter today, that is chapter number 2, fractions and decimals. Let's see what are fractions. Number of the form a by b where a and b are whole numbers and b is not equal to 0 are called fractions. The number a above the bar is called the numerator and the number b below the bar is called the denominator. For example, we have a fraction here 2 by 5. This number 2 is above the bar, so this is the numerator, and this 5 is below the bar, so this is the denominator. That is, 2 is the numerator and 5 is the denominator. Now let's see what are equivalent fractions. To get a fraction equivalent to a given fraction, multiply or divide the numerator and the denominator of the given fraction by the same non-zero number. For example, here we have 2 by 3. To get an equivalent fraction to this given fraction, we have multiplied it with 4. That is, we have multiplied the numerator also by 4, the numerator by 4 and the denominator also by 4. That means we have multiplied the numerator and the denominator both by the same number, that is 4, and we get 8 by 12. This 8 by 12 is an equivalent fraction to 2 by 3. The same way, here is another example, 16 by 20. We have divided 16 by 4 and 20 by 4. That is, we have divided the numerator and the denominator both by the same number, that is 4. We get 4 by 5. So this 4 by 5 is an equivalent fraction to 16 by 20. That means to get a fraction equivalent to a given fraction, either you can multiply or divide the numerator and the denominator of the given fraction by the same number. Now, kinds of fractions. So, kinds of fractions, like and unlike fractions. Like fractions, fractions having the same denominator are called like fractions. That is 5 by 7 and 2 by 7. These are two different fractions but with the same denominator, that is 7 here. So these two fractions are known as like fractions. These type of fractions are known as like fractions. Whereas fractions having different denominators are called unlike fractions. Like for example, here we have two different fractions, that is 5 by 4 and 2 by 7, where the denominators are also different. Here we have 4 in the denominator, whereas here we have 7. So as because the denominators are different here in both these fractions, we will call it as unlike fractions. Now, proper and improper fractions. A fraction in which the numerator is less than the denominator is a proper fraction. For example, here we have 2 by 5. Here 2 is the numerator which is less than 5. The next example, here we have 4 by 7. This 4 is the numerator here which is less than the denominator 7. So these type of fractions are called proper fractions. A fraction in which the numerator is greater than the denominator or equal to the denominator is an improper fraction. For example, here we have 3 by 2. Here 3 is the numerator which is greater than the denominator 2. Here 10, the numerator 10 is greater than the denominator 7. So this type of fractions where we see if the numerator is greater than the denominator, like here 3 by 2 and 10 by 7, we will call it as an improper fraction. Not only this, even if the number here, that is the fraction 7 by 7, here we see the numerator and denominator both are equal. So we call this type of fractions also improper fraction where the numerator and the denominator both are equal, that is same.